guys, welcome to Speak Life Podcast with Lex. I'm so excited that you stopped in. This is a place where we talk about all the things from real life topics to daily struggles to topics that most people don't want to talk about. And before we dive in, remember to like, subscribe, share, and follow us on social media, which is Speak Life Project _ to keep up with all the things that's happening around here. So today, let's talk about setbacks. In the last podcast, if you have not watched it, I talked about the glow up and what that looks like and how we could get to that place of saying, hey, the glow up is real in my life and apply it. And so now, here's my question to you for you to ponder on for a minute. So in the midst of us growing and working up on the glow up and working on the inside out and our character and all those great things, what if you experience a setback? What do you do when you experience that setback? Do you allow it to destroy your life and keep you stuck in a place where you're there for years upon years? Or you allow it to literally hinder all of the growth and all of the things that you've been working on for the past however long? Or do you take that setback and use it to continue to move forward because, hey, you already know that you're victorious in him, so nothing's going to hold you back? There's two types of people, and those are the two types of people. One that allows setbacks to just bring them even further than they ever have before back, or they use that setback to catapult them to be even more, or use that as a part of the plan. Like, hey, stuff's going to happen. I'm going to keep moving forward. And that's a tricky and loaded question because it really takes you having to think about the past situations and the past things that you've been on. But I do want to say this, that if you have allowed a setback to hold you back, it's not too late to move forward from that. And I'm not trying to bring that up so that I can make you feel bad about it. I want you to recognize it and flip that thing and use it for the good of what God is wanting to bring you, because the enemy would love for us to work on something for so long. And then all of a sudden there's a setback. There's something in our life that sets us back. And so we can choose to move forward or move backwards. And we want to make sure we're moving forward because, girl, we got work to do for the kingdom. And we don't have time for setbacks and things to be holding us back or setting us back to the point that we can't move forward. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I want to define what a setback is because maybe you don't even realize what that is. And so I want to make sure that we understand. So a setback is an event that delays your progress. So it can that delays your progress, or it reverses some of the progress that you have made. So maybe you're in a place of delay today, or you're in a place of you feel like you've been reversed in some of the progress that you've made. And so wherever you may be, I want you to realize this today. If you don't understand what a setback is and how and what you can do with that thing, you can allow it to stunt your growth. And we don't want that, right? So you can use a setback, or you can allow a setback, because this is what I wanted to say. And I'm trying to get it out because it's so loaded. But no matter who you are, you're going to have some sort of setback. You're going to have some sort of failure. You're going to have some sort of something that you go through. And you literally can't go around it. Setbacks and failure and things are a part of your process. It's a part of your process. And I know it's hard to hear, but every single person is going to go through a setback. But here's the thing that can help. None of us know the beginning to the end. Only God knows that for our life. And so sometimes when those setbacks take place, we try to control the situation. And you're like, oh, I'm never going to allow that to happen again. But sometimes through those setbacks and through those things that you go through, the failure, the Lord uses that to help you along your process. And so if we can get to the place where we pick up the setback and say, okay, what can I learn from this situation, this thing that I just went through? If you can look at the circumstance, the situation, the setback in that way, then you'll be able to use it to continue to move forward. Because like I said in the beginning, we're already victorious in him. So like I said before, God knows the ultimate plan for our life, and we don't always know the plan, but sometimes we try to figure out the plan. And that's when we try to step in and make things happen in our life. And we make it worse than it would have ever been because we try to intervene when God's like, no, I already planned the beginning from the end. So let me take care of it. We have to give him full control of our lives. And so with setbacks, right? A lot of times it's a redirection from somewhere that we were headed that we shouldn't have been. And maybe we didn't realize, but a setback can be something that redirects you to stay on course on what God is wanting you to do in your life. And so when I begin to like hear that and think about that, I was like, wow, that's powerful. All the times that I thought that I was being rejected, or all the times that I thought that the thing that I was going through was going to take me out, it was a redirection to what God was wanting me to stay on in my own journey with him. And when you begin to look at your setbacks in that way too, I'm telling you, it'll change the trajectory of how you see your life and your journey, and it'll help you to continue to move forward. So God knows the ultimate plan for our life. If you could stay diligent, stay faithful, stay moving forward during those setbacks, then you're going to not only show yourself that you're trustworthy and that you'll follow through and that you have self-control, but you're going to begin to show the Lord that all the things, all the obstacles that's in your way, or all the things that's been thrown at you, you're going to continue to seek him and to be diligent and to be faithful with where you're at. And he's going to see that and he's going to honor that, because God wants us to run this race with him and not do it on our own, because he knows our whole life from the beginning to the end. And I keep saying that because if we can get that through our head, through our mind, that he knows the plans. He knows the plan since we were in our mother's womb. He knew the plan for our life before we were ever born. Then we won't have to try to come in and try to take parts of our journey, take parts of our life and hold on to it. Because if we know that he's in full control, you can relinquish that control. And somebody needs to hear that today. Girl, you need to relinquish the control. You can't control all the things that come your way. You may try to control a piece of your life. You may try to control an environment that you're in, but ultimately, God is in control. And if you can surrender that, the faster you surrender that, the faster that you let go of those things that you try to control, the faster you're going to move forward and be catapulted into your destiny. So I wanted to give you guys some examples of setbacks in the word, in the Bible. One, because in the word, it's so full of people that were set back, but what they did and what they chose to do when that setback happened or occurred determined where they were going to be headed and where they were going to go. So the first example is Ruth. So Ruth was rerouted when her husband died. She had a choice to say, okay, I'm going to follow my mother-in-law and go to the land that she goes to, or I can just run back to the past and run back to what I know. And that's what happens with setbacks. A lot of times when we get set back, we're like, oh, see, I knew this was going to happen. So I'm just going to run back to my comfort zone, run back to all the things that I know, because this is uncomfortable and I don't want to continue to go through this. So why go through that when I know what to expect with the things before? And that's where it can get super dangerous. So Ruth, and if you don't know the story in the Bible of Ruth, I encourage you to go read it because it's really encouraging. But Ruth chose to go with her mother-in-law. She chose to leave the comfort zone. Even though there was a setback, her husband died, like her spouse, the person that she was with, he passed away. That was a huge setback. Some of us in our lives, we have situations and things where someone passed away, like your ride or die, your buddy, your person, your spouse, your kid, somebody in your life that passed away. And that is a huge setback because a lot of times we're grieving and we don't know how to move forward from that person and the idea of, or the past memories and the things that we've done with that person. And so it hurts so bad that sometimes some people never move forward from that, but that doesn't have to be you. This story can encourage you in this season, if that's you and something that you're dealing with right now. So Ruth chose to move forward, to get out of her comfort zone, to go with her mother-in-law and to enter a foreign land that she did not know. But here's what happens. When she did that and she obeyed the Lord and she went with her mother-in-law and got out of her comfort zone, she began to see blessing after blessing. She met another man that was wealthy, that took care of her and her family. And she, in the end, became a part of Jesus's lineage. Like, how powerful is that? She becomes one of the great grandmothers of Jesus. So that's an awesome turnaround, an awesome example of how a setback was turned right and redirected her to something that was greater that she could have never even thought of on her own. Another person is Saul, which eventually becomes Paul. He was in sin and he killed so many Christians, right? He killed so many Christians. So whenever someone says to you, or maybe you may think, man, you don't know what I've done in my past. I've done so many crazy things. I don't think that God could ever breathe on my life or ever see me. No, Paul is an example of how God can take anyone, because Paul ends up writing 2/3 of the New Testament. And so God took someone that was a murderer, someone that was killing his people. He had an encounter with him. And then he ends up through all the setbacks. Paul, like, go read about him in the New Testament. Paul had all kinds of setbacks. He had people stone him. He got locked up in jail so many times. People literally hated him, but he never allowed those setbacks to stop him from doing all that God called him to do. And he knew he was on assignment. He knew what he was called to do. He knew what God was wanting him to do. And through it all, he praised him through all those different things. And he was able to serve God with all that he had in spite of those setbacks. And now we still read about him today because it encourages us and it encourages any person, really, that no matter where you come from, no matter what you've done, you can continue to serve the Lord and he'll use you in a mighty way. And then the last person, which we don't really talk a lot about, is Bathsheba. So Bathsheba was victimized by David, right? So she didn't position herself to be victimized by him. And I'm trying to use better words, because in reality, I'll just say it, in reality, he took advantage of her. He raped her. He literally saw her and was like, I want her, so I'm going to get her. And he did that to her. She didn't do anything for her to deserve that. But in the end, in spite of that setback, because a lot of us can relate to that. I can relate to that. I was victimized. Some of you on here were victimized. And with that, unfortunately, that's something too that literally can hold you back your whole life, and something that you can hold on, and a hurt that you can hold on forever to the point that it hinders and it stunts your growth, and it allows you to just go from setback to setback and never moving forward. But through this whole situation, she birthed Solomon, right? And Solomon builds God's temple, and then she becomes part of the lineage of Jesus. Another powerful example of someone that becomes a part of the lineage of Jesus through a setback, through a horrendous situation. And so those are the 3 examples that I want to talk about. And I hope that it encourages you, because I know with me, when I began to read those 3 different scenarios, it uplifted me and it showed me that any one of us through setbacks, any one of us through the things that we've been through, can get back up, turn it around, and let the Lord redirect us back on the path that he's called us to be, and all the things that he's calling us to do for his kingdom. And so through the setbacks, don't allow it to hold you back any longer. Don't allow it to keep you stuck. We're already victorious in him. We're victorious in God. He's already done it for us by sending his son, Jesus. And so through his son, Jesus, we don't have to allow the setback to hold us back. If we look at the setback as something that's going to be a part of our process, whether we like it or not, we can't go around it. If we could look at the setbacks in that way and then allow those things to redirect us to what God is calling us to do, then we're going to be able to catapult fully into all that he's wanting us to do in this day, in this season, in this time, for such a time as this, because we're needed as the hands and feet of Christ. We're needed now more than ever before. So we don't have time for the setbacks, ladies. I'm telling you, we don't have any time. And so it's inevitable, but it doesn't have to be our story of where we got stuck there. And I hope that this encourages you, because it's crucial to our growth. If we want to continue to grow, we can't allow a setback to hold us back any longer. So Lord, I just pray for each and every girl that's on here. I pray that they are able to recognize the setbacks in their life, but not allow it to keep them stuck if they are stuck right now, Father. And I just pray that they wouldn't allow the progress that they've made this far of working on growing, on working on overcoming some things, that they would not allow these setbacks to hold them back, but that they would use it and allow it to pinpoint things in their life that they're able to redirect as they continue to seek after you, Father. And I just pray that those that have allowed the setbacks to hold them back, I just pray that today would be a clean slate, Lord, that they would look at that thing and be able to say, you know what? I did allow it to hold me back, but you know what? I'm going to allow you, Lord, to help me, to move me forward so that I'm no longer complacent. I'm no longer stagnant. I'm no longer in a place where I'm being disobedient because I'm not walking fully in all you called me to do and all that you called me to be. And I thank you for each and every lady that's on here. And I thank you that in this season, as they yield to you, as they continue to move forward, that they know that they are victorious in you because you've already won. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to speak life always, and I will catch you next week. Bye.